Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. Today's video is an album review on 1992. Back to 1992, Jesus and the Mary Chain album called Honey's Dead. The first time I heard this track was the album was probably around 1992. My older brother had this cassette of this album at the time, and I remember hearing it. It's been a while since I heard it. This is the original vinyl version, which is kind of rare. And then I did. I haven't opened it yet, but this is the reissue still. I think this is from 2011. I got this. It's crazy, right? It's like, look at the price of that reissue, $20.99. I know a lot of times, like we feel like vinyl's gone up and stuff like that, and for the most part, considering all the other things in the world that's gone way up in price, like when you think about the record prices, they really haven't gone up that much, but some of them kind of have. But man, $20.99 for a reissue of this album. That's great. That's probably why I picked it up, because it was a great price. Getting any album for less than $25, a full album that's is reissued is kind of rare these days. It seems to be all to be at least around 30. Some double albums are hitting like 45 now. So this is doing a review on this album, and it's interesting to. This is kind of the first full, like, I've done some rock reviews, but not necessarily like this. Jesus Mary Chain, I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of I really like their first four albums, but I'm not a huge fan. But for a band, it's probably my first review on a rock band where there's absolutely no keyboards, which is kind of unusual. Like everything so far has had like some sort of keyboards. So let's look at the review. Got my notes here. Today's the first time I've played it in a long time. I can't remember the last time I played this album in full. Maybe 4 or 5 years ago, all the way through. I did play Far Gone and Out recently at a club. So let's look at the album. So the first song, Reverence. Good beat, strong riff, 3.25 stars. Right out of the bat, big track. The funny thing about Jesus and Mary Chain, they're kind of like traditional rock and roll in a lot of ways. But what they have their sound, and they don't deviate a lot from that. They kind of do a ballad. They might change the BPM a few times, but their sound is very, it's Jesus and Mary Chain, and you're not going to get too much fluctuation. And so I was trying to keep that in mind as I was rating these tracks, because when you think of the rhythm or the beat, the beats are pretty much all the same for the most part. To be honest, they're fairly close to each other, and just different BPMs. And I really like when they throw in some ballads and stuff like that, like on Darklands. For example, for that album. Unfortunately, on this one, it really doesn't have that sort of ballady. Really no ballads on here, but all the upbeat songs are really strong. Um, you know, Teenage Lust, one of my favorite songs on the album, got 3.5 stars. I really like the way he sings it. It's a little deeper than the first one. Um, yeah, I got it. I got it. Yeah, it's my favorite song on the album. It's tied. I was actually looking at my rankings. I was like, "Is this my favorite?" It's tied with my favorite song on the album. And then you have Far Gone Out. It's kind of a single. It's one of the two singles from the album. It's one of their strongest straightforward jams. I got a 3.25 stars, so very good song still. Almost Gold. This is also, they did a video for this. I don't know if it was necessarily a single, but Almost Gold. It's a little bit more ethereal, which is cool. Nice little bit of change. It's catchy. It's good. Nothing bad here. The ending guitar and harmony is really nice. I got it three stars. So all four songs right now, and actually the first five, all 3 stars. Track 5, Sugar Ray. tied with my favorite on the album, 3.5 stars. Another really cool effect on the guitar. Bass line's very cool. It's a little more abrasive on the guitar and some of the sounds, which is cool. Kind of a little change of pace. I got 3.5 stars, so it's tied with um, Teenage Lust for number one. And then track six, Tumble Down, another very strong song. A bit more of a groove in this one. I like some of the changes here. Maybe not as good as the other ones, though. Overall, I got it 2.5 stars. Catch Fire, uh, it's a good song. It's really solid. I didn't really anything great or really an opportunity in there. It's just I got it as a good song. Um, and then Good for the Soul. This one's tied. There's a three-way tie for my favorite song. It's Teenage Lust, Sugar Ray, and Good for My Soul. Those are my three favorite songs on there, and this one's 3.5 stars as well. So I like them in this kind of range. This one's a little bit slower, a little bit more ballady, just for the change. Of course, when they're rocking, they're doing like head on, like they got a kick ass sound. But I do like when they kind of do some ballady stuff, like April Skies is a classic, and just like Honey. Some of the little bit ones that have a little bit more depth. And Good for My Soul is kind of one like that. Track nine, Roller Coaster. Some nice changes on here. Very good track, 3 stars. Um, so then I'm starting to get a little bit like track 10. I'm like I can't. It's called I Can't Get Enough. I'm like I can't say much. It's kind of like half a star. Track 11, Sundown, 2 stars. I got it good. I have it as maybe. I put a maybe next to it. Not sure why I put maybe, but and then the last track is sort of not sure why it's there. It's like a minute track. It has the lyrics in Out of Far Gone and Out, which or is it reference one of the two, and it's kind of like a sort of like a third of a different version of that track. I don't understand. It has like the JFK lyrics again, and I don't know if those last three tracks kind of hurt the album and the overall score, but I feel like if they maybe took off Catch Fire and sort of took out I Can't Get Enough and maybe lose the last track and there's still 10 tracks, or 9 tracks, 9 to 10 tracks, whatever. I think it could be a little bit more cohesive album. But as you start to get to the end, there is quite a bit of them that sound the same, and a lot of them have that same kind of Happy Mondays kind of Manchester kind of drum beat that Happy Mondays and Stone Roses and stuff like that used, and it gets a little old. They kind of use that a lot on this album. Like seems like 7 or 8 songs have that same beat, and I don't know why that is. Why can't they just do a normal drum beat? Like it has nothing really to do with the song except for that's it. And if you notice this album, you hopefully you agree with me, but they just use that same beat, even though as a drummer, it's like they use the same beat, like just different BPMs, and it's almost the same exact beat. Like I can't. I'm sure a drummer could tell me the difference, but besides the speed, like I don't really. They all sound the same. All the drums sound the same in the song, in this album for the most part. The good overall on the album, lots of very good songs, strong production, strong mixing. The bad again, a lot of the beats are similar, just different BPMs, kind of what I was saying, and I don't know if they're trying to make it hipper by making that beat instead of doing like a traditional rock beat, but I think it would have been more aggressive if they sort of did like, I mean, more. I mean, it works. Don't get me wrong, it works, and it's kind of. But I feel like if they just did more like uh, a rock and roll beat, you know, just like Rebel Yell or something like Billy Idol, just do a faster rock beat, and I think it would work. But really, there's no ballad on here that really balances the album, takes it higher for me. Again, a lot of the songs are similar in some ways. Just lacks variety on the album, but there's a lot of good songs. You can't listen to any of these songs. I mean, I have 7 of the 12 tracks, and again, the last one's just just minute track, so that one almost doesn't count. But 7 of the 12 tracks I have at 3 stars. Are very good. So I mean, there's a lot of good songs on here. Do they sound a little bit similar to each other? Yeah, not just the beat either. It's just kind of it's good. The songs go by quick, which is great because they're rock and roll. They're nice and cohesive. I don't mean they end real quick, so it's over with. But they're nice and tight and cohesive, and they sound good. The vocals are good. I mean, it's Jane's Addiction sound, Jane's Addiction, Jesus and Mary Chain sound. But it's just kind of my only critique is they're not very songs. There's no ballad, and some of the songs sound a little similar. But having said that, when you hear the song, it's like, oh, this one's good too. This one's good too. So it's just interesting like that. But when I add up the stars, it's 30 stars overall. So 30 divided by 12 tracks is a 2.5 stars per average. So right in the middle of good and very good. And again, if you take out the last track, which I gave a 0, that frequency, it was a minute track, and then you take out the one that's half, you're at 29 and a half divided by 10, which is 2.95. So it's right at very good. So I kind of left it there on the overall rating of the album. I got it at 69 of 100. So right on the top, right on the edge of very good. And just if it had a little, maybe like just one ballad, one good ballad, or a little bit of diversity, I think it'd easily be getting in the very good. There's a lot of strong songs on here. Like you play them, you're like, oh man, it's a great song. You know, Jesus and Mary Chain have a lot of these songs. But just kind of need some variety on this album, and yeah, I think it would have been good. And I wouldn't even mind the drums being a lot similar on the songs, and just the overall of the songs kind of being similar if there was some variety on there. But yeah, that's my overall rating for Honey's Dead. 69 out of 100. Just curious if you have a rating on this album. What would you rate this album out of 100? All right, thanks so much. Have a good day.